Hello, whoever else is there. Anybody else in the chat or anybody else want to talk? I can begin if you want. Tonight is going to be stream number 10, and it's going to involve these two angle grinders, one from Milwaukee, one from Makita. Both not flagship models, both sort of entry-level brushed models. They're supposed to be professional grade, but they're not really. They're really the lower end, older brushed models, DIY grade, if you ask me. So what I'm going to show you is which I consider to be the worst out of the two of them. And it's from a repair person's point of view. It's which, when the worst happens, when the worst happens, which is more repairable, which is economically more viable to repair, and why that is. So is anybody else in the chat? So we'll begin. What I'm going to do is tear them down and show you the internal working, show you what's wrong, show you why it takes so much to fix one rather than another. How you doing, Joseph? Good to see you in the chat. Well, first I'll start off by showing you that. That's not good there. If you do that there, you can find that it's stuff. So all is not well in there. I know what's wrong, but I'm going to show you. This one, no, nothing. Yeah. Again, all's not well inside. Moving freely enough, but there's a reason for that. I'll show you in a minute. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody want to say hello? You can start off tearing down the Milwaukee, I think. I'll show you what's wrong with it. Milwaukee have two different sizes. There's one wee T10 in there and a T20 all over the rest of it. So if you're tearing one of these down, you need both sizes. Whereas the Makita is just a cross slot, so it's straightforward. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody want to say hello? So as I say, these are not the top models in Milwaukee or Makita. These are the bottom ones. These are the ones that have the old brushed motors. And basically, I would consider them to be do-it-yourself grinders rather than high quality top end stuff. And it wouldn't be, I call this the battle of the worst grinders, because these are the worst grinders. DeWalt do a brush grinder as well, but it's far superior to these two because it's got a good big solid motor on it. I don't know. What grease do you use for a DeWalt hammer drill? Well, I think you use the wrong grease, to be honest. The grease you need to use in the DeWalt hammer drill is as light as possible. I use EP2. I would suggest EP0 if you can get it, and only use a small amount because you can jam the hammer. This is the Milwaukee grinder broken down now. You have just an ordinary little brushed motor, a little set of brushes, and you can see there's plenty on these brushes, but all is not well. And I'll show you why. I don't know if you can see that. I'll get right up the camera. You can see in there, that's melted. That part holds this bearing. and makes the grinder run straight, keeps it from walloping about inside. So you're out the price of a housing right away if that happens. But it doesn't end there. If you see this fill coil, do you see the internal parts of this fill coil? They're all out of alignment. So that means you need a fill coil as well. So when you go that far, there's a good chance that the motor will be burned as well. So to replace the housing, the motor and the fill coil costs you the price of a new grinder. So that basically is a pile of scrap once that happens. And now you could say, well, does that happen often? I'll tell you the way it is. I've had 2 of these in a short time. So the reason why I haven't had more is because most people, when they buy the Milwaukee grinder, they buy the fuel, they buy the better one. Now the fuel is more repairable for the most part if she's not too bad. You can buy the bearing for the fuel, and if the bearing hasn't been rattling about loose for too long, it'll not have damaged the motor, and you can fix her fairly cheaply. I've had to put a housing and a bearing in this and fixed it. A 13-ton digger went over this a few weeks back, but I've sorted it out. But this is basically scrap. There's no fixing of this. You can fix it, but it's not economically viable. There just is no point. So that's a no-no for that. Grinder number 2 is one you may have seen my channel before. It's one I've fixed before. I've done quite a few wee videos on this one, because this one is one of the ones to burn out quite easily. I did actually a short video one time. Easy to break and easier to fix. So if you overheat these, they have a problem. I'll show you what that is. Get a better screwdriver. Yeah. Well, this side's okay, because this side's screwing off. And but it's not okay, because the brushes are welded in there due to overheating. And if we go to the other side, that'll not come off at all. No, that's not coming off at all. So you've got overheating in this grinder, which is a very similar fault to the previous grinder, the Milwaukee. It's so similar, but the story is slightly different. And I'm going to show you why when I get this thing took apart. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody else joining in? No? Okay. Anybody any questions? You see, this is live stream number 10, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different because I've been doing a lot of battery repairs and a lot of different types of builds and things. So I want to do a bit of discussion that if you guys talk or see what you have to say or see what you think. Okay, on we go then. You have to give that a little pry up if you're taking one of these apart. And I probably should tell you how to take one of these apart, because if you have one of these that is broken, it is worth fixing. It is something that you can do by yourself quite easily. I don't have the parts tonight because, well, through a series of unfortunate events, I just don't have the parts to fix this. There we are. We're in there now. So, what have we got on here? Again, there's a lot of dirt. And the difference in the setup, so I'm going to show you now. There's the armature. And the field coil, which needs a clean. But, crucially, when you get in this fire, you can see that this bit that is overheated and melted the brushes. This part's replaceable. And usually this part will fail before it'll destroy the field coil and or the motor. Although, if you do have to replace the motor and this here, it's still worth doing. Still cheaper than a new grinder. Anybody else in the chat? Much other to buy? Well, you can buy the Milwaukee grinder for about £100. You might get one of these for 85, 90. And you know, the parts that I'm waiting on for this, the parts to fix this, if you have to buy what I have in my hand there and that motor, it's £30. If you have to buy this, some cases you can get this for £10 or £15 its own. Or you can buy the kit with this here and this here in it for 30. I could try and fix that, but I don't think I can this evening. That's the brushes are well gone in that though. If I could get this off, I might have a set of brushes and I might be able to get this going for you tonight. Let's see. But I really would need to replace this. It was supposed to come on in time for this live stream, but it did not. So here we are. Right. You can see that. There's a lot of melting in that brush. It's very, very unlikely I'll be able to use this. But I'm going to try. But it's hard to fix things when you need parts and you haven't got them. Oh, that's totally scuppered there. So the point of the stream was to show you that the Makita is repairable financially and the Milwaukee isn't. And this fuel, Milwaukee, is an exception to the rule, because as long as they're not too far gone, they're totally repairable. But most fuel tools, although high quality, if they do go wrong, they're not useful to repairmen. Repairmen hate them. You mention Milwaukee to repairmen, they turn white. They just turn pale. They just don't like them at all. So, with that part of the stream over, there's another thing I can move on to. I have a Makita battery that sort of failed today. I'll show it to you in a moment. I'll just gather this up. I have a Makita battery. It's a little 1.5 that failed on me today. And it's one I got at my good friend Kieran Loftus. And I got it going again with a laptop charger. I boosted it with a laptop charger and I've been using it for a couple of weeks. And I kind of fell for this little battery because it's nice and light. But it lasts no time. It runs down very quickly. The cells have lost all their resistance. So I think it could be time to replace the cells in it. And I might just do that this evening when I have so much time. So here we are, we're into the guts of the battery. I'm going to test it for you and show you what is wrong. This will only show voltage. This test will not show internal resistance or how well it'll hold up. It's only showing 13 volts, that shouldn't even be powering that at all. I busted this up to 18 a while ago and the cells just fell back in power. If a battery's been charged and discharged too many times, it's over. The booster will not work. Nothing will work. It's really over. And most times, it's time to throw the battery out. But I have the fortunate position of having an old Husqvarna battery that I've been pulling cells out for the last couple of weeks. And they're high quality LG cells. And they're 2000 milliamp, which will bring this battery up to a 2 ampere if I put them in. And I happen to have 5 here, which is what I need. I'm going to test them here. You see how balanced they are, how the voltage is. They're all pretty good there. That one's a little bit low, but not much. They're all pretty well balanced, you know. So if I make this onto a new pack for that, I think I should have a very good battery. Anybody else there in the chat? And we'll continue on. So, battery builds are not for everyone. I should really be wearing gloves. Lithium cells can be dangerous to work with, and it's not something that I'm recommending. It's just something that I do, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for you guys out there. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody else on there? Oh, you're in Rockstar right there. Aye, you were on before, weren't you? Good to see you back on the chat again. You were on before. You're in Nova Scotia. What time was it in Nova Scotia? I would guess it's probably during the day, 4 o'clock, no? No? I remember you've been on before. Right, so I have to get these cells out and replace them with these guys here now, so. And spot weld them in, and all's going to be beautiful. So. 6:15, 6:19. Yeah. I don't think it's late as that, so you're about 4 hours behind us here. So we're going to have tomorrow before you. But hopefully I'll be finished here tonight before it's tomorrow with you. That's only if you want me to go. I'm not in any particular hurry this evening. Right. Yeah. I like this little battery because it's light, but look at the shape of those. Look. And thanks to Kieran Loftus for giving me this, because he arrived with this one day, a whole tool haul for me. It's really good to see you guys from Canada getting on the stream. A lot of you guys in Canada and America have been very, very, very good. You've been really kind to me and really good viewers of my channel, to be honest. So I just hold you in the highest regard. Yeah, that's the plus side there. I think maybe just rip these cells out and start again. I've really lent into the battery stuff for the last long while, you know. So I hope I'm not boring you with this stuff. It's something I've just got into by accident. I started to fix batteries and I never really stopped. So if you have any questions in the chat or you want to talk about anything, go ahead. I recently got 3,000 subscribers recently. I think it was Tuesday. I got 3,000 subscribers. And I'm still a relatively small channel, but I appreciate every subscriber I have. And it's hard for these live streams to be engaging because sometimes there doesn't be enough people on to get the good chat going, but I appreciate you all. So what I'm doing is pull apart this battery. Like I say, battery repair is not for everyone. And if you are brave enough or crazy enough to attempt it, please wear gloves and be careful. Because I don't want anything to happen to anybody as a result of my wacky little YouTube channel. But I hope at the very least you learn something or entertained or get something out of this, because I get a lot out of this myself. And to be honest, I've learned plenty from people in the comment sections and also people in the live streams. I've learned a lot from you guys. So thank you all for that. Right. Nice. Nice. There's probably no shame for these cells to be in a suboptimal condition because they've been in there a while. That's the plus and that's the minus. Yeah. There's that wire connected there too. So I'm going to have to get that in there some way too. Anybody else in the chat? Nope. On we go then. Yeah. Battery repair is not for everyone, like I say. Have you seen my recent video? I made that little M12 battery recently. I bought the casing for $7.50 on eBay. I had to wait a couple of weeks for it, and I put 3 of these cells into it. Now I've got a pretty good little battery, but there was a lot of work went into it. They're very hard to fit together and they're very tight to get into the casing, so I wouldn't recommend you build your own M12 battery, but you can check out that video. Hopefully you find it entertaining. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody want to ask any questions? See this now? So if you see the wee sparks there, this is where the danger comes in. You can cross connect batteries. One of the biggest dangers with lithium cells is when they go into something called thermal runaway. And if you're boost starting a battery or something and a cell goes into thermal runaway, it just keeps heating and heating and heating up till it explodes. So that's why I know I've done a lot of jump starting on my channel. That is a thing that you need to watch for. The cells that I'm using in this are what they call 18650 cells. And that's an 18650 cell, and that's an 18650 cell. That size of cell is usually an 18650 cell. But not all cells are created equal. These cells I'm taking out, because that's a 1.5 ampere battery, when it was good, they're 1500 milliamp cells. The ones that I'm putting in are 2000 milliamp cells. So they are invariably better. They are better cells. Yeah, that's cool. Right, I'm going to try and get this put together now. Now there's a way that goes. So yeah, like that. So I didn't know I was going to be making a battery tonight, but something happened that the parts didn't come in for the little grinder, so I didn't get to fix it for you. So here we are making batteries again. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody else anything to say? Nope. I will proceed then. And if there's any other suggestions of what you would like to see me do, I won't be able to do everything, but if there's anything that you particularly want me to see me doing on live streams or in a video or anything, you can put it forward in the chat for any of my videos, because the channel's small enough that I will see all the comments. So don't be afraid to put in your opinion or even accept trolls, because you know, trolls have feelings too. You need them too. Don't be too sore on the trolls, because there's something wrong with somebody who's a troll. There's something wrong with them mentally, so there's no point in me adding to their woes. Nobody else in the chat? Nope. Some of my regular guys in the chat aren't there tonight, so sorry if the chat's a little lackluster. But I went later this evening because I thought maybe some of the guys, like yourself, Rockstar Rider, or some of the guys in the US, it would suit them because wouldn't have been too early in the day, and maybe not too late for guys on this side of the Atlantic, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. Right. I use this light strip when I'm making my batteries because, as I say, battery repair is not for everyone, and mostly, sometimes I do fix batteries for people, but mostly I do it for entertainment. And I use these thin strips because if anything goes wrong with the battery, the thin strip would be more likely to burn out than a heavier strip. So there is that. It acts like a little fuse. It acts like a fuse. Nobody else in the chat? There's a bit of a rough edge in this particular cell. I'm trying to get off before I spot weld it on. It'll affect the quality of spot weld if we don't get it sort of cleaned a little bit. I'll pull that out, see if we can get at it better. But like I say about the two grinders, generally speaking, old Makita stuff, even some of the brushless stuff, lends itself better to modular replacement than Milwaukee and now DeWalt. DeWalt's brushless stuff has got nearly as difficult as Milwaukee to repair. I'm sticking these little round things on because that's the positive end of the terminal in the battery, and if you scratch the surface there, you can take off that coating, and the whole body of the battery is minus, so you can take positive to minus if you cross connect that. So that's why I'm putting on that little thing, as it were, to try and stop that cross connection, that potentially dangerous cross connecting from happening, you know. So hopefully that'll work out. Nobody else in the chat? Like I say, the little small batteries have their place. For smaller jobs and smaller tools, they're very handy and very light. I really fell in love with this little battery. That's why I'm repairing it. I really thought that's the sort of battery that I would like to have for doing my repairs with that drill. And I just would be very reluctant to say goodbye to it. Soldering around batteries is very dangerous, especially in the end of cells. I try and avoid it where possible, but sometimes it's the only mission that you have, it's the only option you have left. So here's my Milwaukee soldering iron. I'm a big fan of this M12 soldering iron because it heats up very quickly, it's very handy. It's got the flexible head. It's got a nice little light. And it's just easier. I find it better than the plug-in ones. I don't like the plug-in stuff. It heats up so quickly and it doesn't overheat. There must be some thermostat on it to stop it from overheating. That's pretty good. Oh, that's not pretty good, but anyway, we'll see. So, leave that aside. And the thing about that little soldering iron, it's got that. I've got this flux core stuff. I'm nearly out of flux, certain enough. Yeah, I got plenty of solder at the minute, Martin. I did buy solder. Right. I have the lighter solder and the heavier solder. I have this stuff here. That's like a low melt light one for wee light jobs. And this is the heavier one. So I have two different grades of solder there. And I find both of them very, very useful. And that little soldering iron it's really my favourite thing that I have. For battery repair and for just general broken wire repair and tools and things. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody else want to say anything? No? So on we go. On we go. You can solder in cells, but if you're careful. But a lithium cell is such a dangerous thing. I just don't think people should take unnecessary risks. It's probably not worth it. But most of my battery builds are done just usually for entertainment. Sometimes I help people out by doing little battery repairs. And there's some of the batteries you'll see me using. Actually, the majority of them are probably repaired ones. Only batteries I have are about 20 volt and flex volt. 9 ampere and a couple of volt 10 ampere. Yeah. How are the flex volts doing for you, Rockstar Rider? Have any of them gone faulty with you or anything? Because I know the 6 amp in particular, and the flex volt has been kind of problematic for some people. Some people have had difficulty with that. Some people have found that suboptimal. And what I don't like about the flex volt, and again it's coming from somebody who's trying to repair these things, it's a repairman's point of view that I don't like them. Because when anything goes wrong, they're too complicated. There's too much going on. With these smaller batteries, things just more simple and basic. So it's easier to get it right, you know. It's easier to get it right. No problem so far. Well, what I will say about the flex volt batteries, they're a phenomenally good battery for something that needs a bit of continuous power, like a grinder, or especially circular saws. Circ saws need continuous power, and if they don't get the continuous power, they sort of bog down and lose power, you know. So. Good so far. Yep. No, they're a good battery. Like when you think of the difference, this one's 5 cells. Your standard DeWalt has 10 cells. and your flex volt, depending on the size, what type of cells it has, but they all have 15 cells, even up to the 12 volt. I'm not even sure exactly what is in the 15 amp. The 15 amp it's got a whole pile of cells in it. I think they actually might be 18650 cells, but I'm not sure. There's just a whole heap of cells. But the batteries with the 15 cells, it makes sense. It spreads the load when the battery gets under load. Makes sense that the battery can hold up. You can hold that voltage up under pressure. Whereas like a smaller battery like this will buckle under the strain. You put a 2 amp battery on a circ saw, it's going to start crying. It's going to start feeling the strain. Nobody else in the chat. We haven't got a busy stream tonight, but thank you whoever is there and whoever's held on this long, because it's nice to see people communicating in this forum, because the tool forum is a very good part of the internet, in my opinion, because most people are really decent, and the trolls aren't too bad. Oh, could have dropped something. There we are. Nice. Yeah. Throw my little bit of strip on it, that's handy. There we go. 15 cells in the 9 ampere and 10 ampere. There's 21 700s in the flex volt, 9 ampere. So that helps. It's the big 30Ts. They're a very good cell. Good big powerful cell. I have some of these. I have some of them 30Ts lying around here. I'm maybe going to do a battery build in the future with them, but I haven't decided how I'm going to utilise them best. I've got something up my sleeve, so just stay tuned. Yeah, I think that's why the flex volt has a problem, because DeWalt have tried to protect the user so well that there's little capacitors that fail in the flex volt rather than letting them overheat. There's a large amount of battery protection to protect the user, which you would understand, but it does make them more fickle. So I don't know what the answer to that is, or how they could make them better, because they don't want flex volt batteries exploding and blowing up their customers, because that's bad for business. Well, the lifespan's not as long in some of them, because I've opened some of them and the cells have been all okay, but still won't go, because the battery protections that are put in place are a lot weaker than you could argue they need to be, but for the reasons I explained, you don't want batteries blown up with a user, so the protections are there for a reason. Yep. I don't know how long the lifespan has been of this little Makita battery, but the cells just weren't holding up at all. But it's got a bit of an upgrade now tonight. It's been upgraded to something a little bit better. Let's see. Yep. Some of the surface is not very even, so it's hard to get it tacked on. That's us now. I've never seen a flexible catching on fire, but I can imagine how it would happen. I really can imagine how it would happen, because, like I say, there's a lot of big cells in there. And you've mentioned about the overheat problem yourself. It makes sense that it's a potential danger. It's rare, but batteries can catch fire. Knockoffs are particularly susceptible to it. I know I bought three knockoff Makita batteries, and all three caught fire. So that wasn't a very successful purchase for him. Fire, actually. He told me that one caught fire on the tool when he was holding it, and he threw the tool away. He threw the tool away when he was holding it, because it was catching fire with him. So another one on the charger. I don't know what happened, battery number 3. But anyway, point is, knockoffs can be a problem. Have you seen my recent video on a knockoff that I took apart a van on one? I was particularly disturbed by it, because it was, you see the way it's got a nice rubber thing in the bottom to stop the cells getting bashed in the bottom and damaged. The van on had no such luxury. The cells were getting all tracked in the bottom, all marked. So they had a big potential for getting burst and going fire. So that was a bad job from Vanon. And they were also 2000 milliamp cells. And the battery itself was being sold as a 6 ampere battery, but it was actually a 4 ampere battery, disguised as a 6 ampere battery. That was one of the second worst thing was wrong with it. I need 3 hands. I need more than 3 hands. I need lots of things. You connect that as well, and this. So we're getting there with this battery now, so hopefully I'll have a battery for you very soon. Anybody else in the chat? Building these batteries in my channel is not maybe to encourage you to build batteries, it's to actually show you what's in your batteries, how they work, what fails when they go wrong, what they're all about, that type of thing. But do whatever you like out there, but it is not my wish for anything to happen to anybody. By taking chances, building batteries, making mistakes, and that being dangerous and causing personal injury. That's not what I want to see. That's not what I want for anybody. Anybody else in the chat? Anybody else anything to say? Okay, on we go. Right. I'm going to connect that, but I'm going to put something on below, so I'm not damaging the battery with a spot welder. If that makes any sense. And there's a potential for cross connection there as well, so want to avoid that. Lovely. No, it doesn't take. Right, we're going to have to do something potentially dangerous now. This is good. This is where the fun starts. I can maybe solder that, but I don't want to. But I might. I'm going to solder it. What's the worst that could happen? Explosion, wreck, or worse. It's not going to take very much solder to do this. I don't know, whatever. It's a bit like duck dung there. That's it. Are we all connected now? Let's see. what we were. It goes like that. So that goes on like that. So that goes on like that. That goes on like that. Right, so test it with the meter now to see if we've got anything resembling a battery that's showing any sort of voltage or anything. $1804, can you see that? 1805, alright, that's good. Look at that. That's pretty good. So, close this thing up now to see if it'll take a charge. So you can get it charged up to 20 volts. Because what a lot of people don't know about these, where's that on backwards? That's on backwards. Anyway, a lot of people don't know about the 18-volt batteries. And in Canada and America, the DeWalt batteries are classed as 20 volt, but there's a reason for that. Because they are 20 volt. All 18-volt batteries could be considered 20 volt from a certain point of view. And all 20-volt batteries could be considered 18 volt from a certain point of view. And what I mean by that is, where's the risk? Do you mean where's the risk with buying batteries? Well, if I had connected those cells incorrectly and wasn't wearing gloves, for example, I could have got a cross connection and could have burnt my hands, especially using this fine strip. I won't probably cause an overload, I'll probably just burn my hands. When you're building a battery, like I say, back to the cells, if you accidentally puncture a cell, you can have an explosion, a fire. You have the positive and the negative. And this whole body is negative. And if you skin a bit off that, it connects that air, you're cross connecting the battery. And in fact, that's alright if you see it happen, a little bit of a spark show, and you'll maybe jump or whatever. But there's if I make a mistake and it doesn't cross connect to sometime later on, if the battery gets a bang or just something overheats and melts, you could have a cross connection and a fire. I think the thin strips will help, because what that does is that makes sure that it'll burn out like a fuse rather than overload the cells. But there is a risk there. There is a risk factor. And the thing I talked about earlier on was, yeah, it can explode. Oh yes, it can explode, yes. It can explode, yes. And I want to go back to this. If I was soldering this here, soldering something onto this, and I wasn't careful enough and it ran onto here and connected, I'm getting a positive to negative connection there. And if it's strong enough, it could cause the cell to overload. That's one of the big problems with soldering onto cells. That's one of the big ones. But we didn't do that, so we're okay. But I have to tell people of the risks. But you know, a life without risk is not a life that you want to live. Because I think it's very boring. So I have to try this in charge now. Here we are. One of the functional chargers gifted to me by my good friend Kieran Loftus. I want to thank him again. because he's been one of the great supporters of my channel for the last few months. So there's something wrong there. Doesn't work. So we may have to replace the circuit board as well when that happens. We may just have to go back in there and see if there's anything wrong. Getting 18 volts anyway. That's this thing here. I think it's this safety wire and this overheat wire. It seems to be connected. Yeah. I don't like these little circuit boards because they got no cell balancers on them. You know what? Yeah. No, it's connected. I thought that was the problem, but no, obviously not. I'm going to have to go back to that in some other time. You say battery repair is, it's a mad game to bat because things like that happen. Might need to buy a new circuit board for that. I could have a circuit board failure there too. So I get one of them. You can pick them up fairly cheaply. If you have a new circuit board and all the cells, you have a battery then. So I don't think that battery's dangerous. I just think the circuit board has failed as well. But if another battery to fix, you may or may not be glad to see. Yeah. Circuit board is the issue. We'll see, but maybe not tonight. We have our old friend. It's showing one bar. It's showing 17 volts but won't charge. And I know what's wrong with this. Needs 2 new cells. So I'm going to stick 2 new cells in this. But I'll show you first. But it's not coming. Or how it's not going. There we are. I'll check in the till now, Martin. We'll see. I'll show you this. Oh, you mean this wee battery? We'll see. The wall eye. So back to the drawing board. Now it works in the till, but I can still charge it with a power supply, you know. So that's a little hack for you if you want to know how to charge a battery that's got good cells but isn't performing and charging, I suppose you would say. Huh? Do you see this one? That constant flashing light means there's a problem. The charger's telling me there is a problem. So I'm going to show you the problem is. Oh, Tubbs Tool Reviews. Tubbs Tool Reviews, good man. You were sadly missed in the chat tonight. I was discussing two grinders which are dismantled. I was discussing the brushed Makita grinder and the brushless Milwaukee grinder. 18 volt Milwaukee and the LXT Makita. So what's wrong with that Milwaukee is it's not repairable. When it gets to this stage, it costs too much. You have to buy the field coil, the motor, and the outer casing to repair it, and it just costs the price of a grinder. Whereas you've seen me repair the little Makita grinders before. It only takes about £28 or $30 American or something. You could replace the whole thing, the motor, the field. Well, you usually don't have to replace the field coil, the motor, and the little brush holder and the brushes. This is my old friend, the battery I keep killing. It's dead again, so I'm going to have to put 2 more cells on it. So yeah, and upgraded this 1.5 Makita to a 2 ampere, but it's not charging for some reason. I may have to get a circuit board from the Asian Peninsula. It's not taking a charge, but it's still working the till, so it's okay. Figure something out with that one. I was going to fix the grinder, the Makita grinder, only the parts did not come in time. So I've had to start fixing batteries again, which seem to also have batteries to fix. Yeah. Well, there's an exception maybe to the rule about brushless not being repairable. That here, I repaired that. I bought a casing and I bought a bearing, and it was worth doing. But that's sort of an exception. If the bearing had been bad for a long time, it damages the field coil, and the field coil and the switch and the controller is all in one unit, so it's not worth doing. So sometimes the fuel grinders can be replaced or can be repaired, but not always. Sometimes it goes too far. Brushless grinders, Makita, some of the Makitas can be repaired as well. Some of them the switch is separate. So if you have a Makita LXT brushless with a bad switch, usually you can replace it. There's a variable speed one, and that throws another unit into the mix to go wrong as well. So, you know, the bottom line is repairmen usually hate Milwaukee because it usually costs too much to repair them, and everything's all in one unit. You can't just replace the little module that's going, because it's attached to 4 or 5 other things. That's because it was a bearing, not major components. Yes, that's right. If it had been, I did put a switch in one time, but I had to cut it out of another one because the switch is not a separate item. I know what's wrong with these two in the end are bad. They're bad. Yeah. We're getting 1 volt, which is not a lot. We're getting 4 volts in these other ones, I hope. Yeah, there you are. Four volts, 4 volts, 3.9, 3.9. So I need to pull these two out and replace them with these. It's just marked on them with a label. These is ones that I got. They weren't too expensive, but I think they're not Samsung. They were bought as Samsung, but they were way too cheap. So I'm going to have to pull them out, place them now. It shouldn't be too hard. Yeah. Flex with a lifetime warranty. I think with a lifetime warranty is bound to be better than some of this stuff, because, you know, you've had your problems with DeWalt, Mr. Tibbs, and you know, it's not great, like, not great the way DeWalt operate over here either. They do a 3-year warranty, but only if you, and not on everything, and only if you register. They're actually bought new, them. I actually bought them off eBay. I've had them for a little while. I've had them in the Miss Bears box, because if I ever needed them, I realised that I was replacing a lot of 2500 milliamp cells into 5 amp batteries. So I thought it'd be nice to have a couple of them in stock so I don't have to wait for them to come. But then my own little friend, this one, died again, so I'm going to have to give her a transplant. But she's getting new cells this time. She's not getting the reclaimed ones. So there we are. The X-Lock Makita LXT grinder. I like the LXT grinders, the brushless grinders, but the X-Lock, that's the one with the different types of discs. It doesn't take the standard disc. You have to buy the expensive ones. Am I correct? I haven't seen any of them, but I've seen the system advertised. The X-Lock system. So I just think the Makita brushless grinder is a good grinder. I think the LXT is a good grinder. The bearing, for one thing, is superior to the one in the Milwaukee. They're a very similar system. But the components are more separate. They're separatable, that you can replace them if need be. Cheap disc, because no one has them. You get a pack of 5 pack of 6 for 5. It's not too bad. Do you mean the X-Locks? The X-Lock are cheap discs? Bosch have some kind of system as well. It's a special kind of disc. I kind of get turned off by that when it's something you have to buy. I just think it's a company's way of selling you their stuff. It's a way of selling you something that, you know, it's a way of selling you something that you have to buy of them and can only get off them, which I don't like, because they're usually monopolising the price. Pasload had a nailer out a couple of years ago. Still have it out, but you have to use Pasload special nails. I think it's AM360, but the AM350 can use anybody's nails. And the nails end up in the expensive part because you're putting through thousands of nails. If you're having to pay so much more for the expensive ones, it's costing you more. Yeah. But you're good at fighting the deals, Mr. Tubbs. Hats off to you. You're the man for the good deals. So if I was in the USA and I wanted to buy something, I'd be asking you where to get it at the right price. And I think that's something that you excel at on your channel, and be something that you could really drive your channel forward with, because you have a lot to offer to this forum. Your knowledge is on point. You know, you're one of the guys in the chat that I like to see, because I can learn things off you. There's always something like that. Your tool knowledge is as good as anybody out there, and your ability to find deals is phenomenal. It's a skill that you have. Anybody else in the chat? Anything out there? Is there anybody out there? Anybody want to say anything? At least get one of these batteries going for you tonight. I'm pretty sure this will be a success. Yeah. Three bars anyway, so that's a good sign. Probably don't even have to activate the voltmeter. Bit of wool anyway. No, you keep talking, Mr. Tubbs. You are I've told you before, you are the heart and soul of these streams. They're not the same without you. The ultimate respect to everybody who does talk in these streams, because 19.93, see, so you can see it, 19.93 volts. I always know I have a good stream. There's good chat and good conversation when you're in the stream. Actually, I saw Ed's stream, Ed the old tech guy, the other night. I didn't see it live, but I watched it back, and it wouldn't have been the same stream without you, Brandon. The contribution that you made to that stream made it one of the most entertaining streams I've seen in a long time. I wish I had seen it live, but No, it was excellent. And thank you for being here once again, because I know we're all busy people, and the person's time is the most valuable thing that they have, because we don't know. Oh, subscribe to Tubbs, surely. Everybody should subscribe to Tubbs. Be too bulky to get into the box now. Just a wee bit of rough struck welding there. Push it in, worry later. That's what she said. Anybody else in the stream? I want to thank everybody that contributes to the stream, everybody watches. I want to thank Rockstar Ryder for asking the questions and for talking. I thank Mr. Tubbs as usual. I want to thank Martin for being here as well. I think we might have a battery back and running again. This is the battery that I keep breaking, then I keep fixing again. And I'm not going to stop fixing this battery. I'm going to fix this battery forever. Every time it breaks, I'm going to fix it. It's kind of a thing that I'm going to do from now on. Oh, I know, Mr. Tubbs, you're trying to help, and I hate about companies, especially over here. They get away with absolute murder. They if somebody has a DeWalt brushless SDS or something, for example, and they have it 2 years and it stops working for any reason. If they haven't registered with DeWalt, let's say it's over a year, you'll have to pay to fix it. And the same with Milwaukee and Makita. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. So we'll try this on the charger now. Yeah, it's charging there nicely. This battery is like an old friend. I'm going to keep fixing it as long as I have it. Every time it breaks down, I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to keep using it as well. I'm going to keep using it in the summer, using it in all the other applications I have. Jump starting batteries with it, doing everything. You know. Don't think I need the soldering iron anymore tonight, so that's it. So there's a little battery that I assembled on Thursday, and there's a little Whitley battery I bought along with my soldering iron. I don't have a lot of M12 stuff, but I got this little flashlight, which I like, and of course a soldering iron, so it's all good. Yeah, they make you register everything. I hate when they get away with something after 2 years. It's just not fair. 2 years and something that you've paid hundreds of pounds just packs up, and they all say you didn't sit in your computer for half an hour and you're a stupid little thing. So no, And Milwaukee do the same. We guarantee power stack batteries for 3 years over here now, but they don't guarantee XR batteries or FlexVolt more than 1 year, no matter what you do. So that's a bit shit. Yeah, they make us register everything they do. I try and get people to register. I've even went on as far as sending emails to Milwaukee and DeWalt to try and get people warranties, even if they haven't registered. And it never works. It always falls on deaf ears. It always never works at all. Never works out. No registration, no warranty. It's just simple as that. So guys, any other questions in the chat? Anybody else want to ask anything? Anybody else want to see anything? Suppose I could show the latecomers what I was on about earlier on with these grinders. That's the Makita grinder. That's the Makita grinder. And the Makita grinder overheats a bit too easily, in my opinion, and melts this brush housing. So you can replace that brush housing and the brushes, and usually this fails before the armature has done any damage to itself. But even if you have to replace the armature, you replace this, the brush holder, the brushes, and the armature, without this top part of course, for £30. So it's still worth doing, you know. I would fix this in a few minutes if I had the parts, but regrettably I don't have the parts this evening to do that, because it's not the hardest job in the world. I've done some of them live before. I've done one of them live before. Some of the Makita Fix live streams. Anybody else in the chat? Well, without further ado, I think I'll say goodnight to you all. And thank you very much all for being here. Dr. Left Hand Thread.